Hello, I'm Amber Youper, and this video is just a short video to talk about a couple things with my new lathe. This is the what a lot of people call the Chinese mini lathe. This is the central machinery lathe from Harbor Freight Tools, and this particular one is the 7x10, which means you can get theoretically a 7-inch workpiece. Here, let me do this. Get this out of the way. There we go. Theoretically, you can get a 7-inch workpiece in here, 7-inch diameter, and theoretically 10 inches long, although in practical use it's not quite 10 inches. So that's that, and I've done some work on it. I've got a little arbor in here right now for turning wheels, and I've been turning railroad wheels. These are almost 4 inches diameter. I'll grab my ruler here quick. Let's see. These are, yeah, about 3 3/4 inch diameter on the tread. Just short of about 4 inches on the flange. And these are for a project that I'm making. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about today is the tailstock. And we'll crank this all the way over. So this is the tailstock, and this is the tailstock holder. Now this is what they call a live center. And let's see if you can see it. Bring it up a little closer to the camera. Maybe it'll focus on it. Okay, so there's the live center. What that means is that the head of this thing turns. So when you're turning a piece of round stock or whatever, you put this on the end of it to stabilize it, and this will turn with the piece while this stays stationary. And this is this tailstock has what's called an Mt2 taper. So that's what this is. It just goes in the end of the stock like that, and it'll stay there. They get stuck in there pretty good, and basically you're just putting that, I think this is almost loose, yeah, you're putting that into there basically to stabilize your workpiece. And it's not so much necessary when you're doing short pieces, but when you're doing longer pieces, when you're cutting down the diameter, it helps a lot because it keeps it from wobbling back and forth and being unsteady. Yeah, there goes my furnace. So anyway, and to get this thing out of here, you basically just crank it back. Keep cranking. When it gets down to the end here, when it gets pulled all the way back, it hits the end stop, and that basically ejects the thing from the taper. Now, I just bought this from littlemachineshop.com. They sent me a nice catalog here, so there's my printed catalog. It's got all kinds of stuff in it for lathes and milling machines and stuff like that. Now this is a Mt2 Taper Shaft that has, let's see if I can do this. Yeah, okay, now you can see it a little better against the light. That has, it's pre-threaded for 3/8. What is that, 3/8 24? Yes, 3/8 24. And what that's for is so you can put a regular drill chuck, like you'd get on one of your electric drills. You can put that on this thing, screw it on there, and that way you can use a small drill chuck like this in the end of your tailstock. Crank it back out here like that. Now you can put drill bits in there, so you can drill a hole dead center in the piece that you're holding on your chuck. And here's the chuck, of course. Do that there. So here's the chuck. This allows you to put a piece in there and drill a hole dead center in it with a regular drill, just by moving this on that. Move move this forward like that and then lock it down. And then you, with your, well, of course with your drill, and then you just run the drill in like that. You back it off. And you, of course, eject this the same way. Now, an interesting thing about these is that they're short. This shaft, this Mt2 Taper Shaft, is short on these things for the mini lathes, because long ones, this is out of my drill, my bench drill. Now here's your typical long one, and it's got this weird end on it, and that's so you can get it out of the drill shaft. There's a slot in the shaft up here, and you put a wedge in there and hit it with the hammer until this thing drops out. And the problem with these is that they won't go all the way in. With a full length shaft, it won't go all the way in. And run it way out. You got to get it way out there before it'll go all the way in. And it ejects about right there. So you're out by more than a half inch when it ejects. So basically what happens here is you lose space between the drill chuck and the lathe chuck for your drill bits. So that's why they have the short ones, so that you can crank the thing all the way back before it ejects. That gives you that much more space. And with this one here, I'm back about as far as I'm going to get. And you have about 6.5 inches from the end of this chuck to the top of the jaws of the lathe chuck. Let me move this forward again, so maybe you can see this a little better. Okay. So here's the drill chuck. Here's the face of the drill chuck, and out there it's about 7 inches. So that's your maximum distance. You know, and most drill bits aren't that long, but if you're using a long drill bit to drill a deep hole, it makes a big difference. And of course, this chuck will only handle a 3/8 inch drill, because that's as big as the chuck is. It's the old standard electric drill chuck. This one, out of my bench drill, well, that'll handle a 1/2 inch, probably bigger than a 1/2 inch. What does it say on here? 0.8 to 16 millimeter drill bits, so that's pretty big. But the problem here is you got to go out that far just to get it to seat in the chuck. And then you only have less than 5 inches between the face of the bench, between the face of the lathe chuck and the face of the drill chuck. And of course you get a little bit more space because you put the drill inside. So that's at most 6 inches. And of course, if your part is sticking out to the end of the chuck jaws on the lathe chuck, that gives you less. So it limits what you can do with the drill chuck. That's why they make the short ones. Not that you can't use these, but like I said, you lose space here. Now, if you had a 7x16 lathe with the longer bed that gave you theoretically 16 inches of space, this wouldn't be such a big deal. But it makes a big difference when you got one of these small short bed lathes. I know you can get a new bed for these that'll make that you can take all this stuff off and put it on the new bed, and it'll be 16 inches long. But it's expensive, and I don't really want to get into that now. I got a lot more to learn about before I get to that point. But anyway, so that's what I wanted to show you today about the Mt2 Taper for the tailstock on this So, get over on this side here. So, the cat wants to make a cameo, of course. Come here, you. Yeah. Yeah. So here's Shiitake. Shiitake the basement cat. Yeah, there she is. There's Shiitake the basement cat. So anyway, that's my video. Thanks for watching.